Darth Vader's iconic suit was not just a life support system, it was a prison. After his defeat on Mustafar, where he suffered severe burns and the loss of his limbs, Emperor Palpatine designed Vader's armor with deliberate flaws. The materials were subpar, and the suit was cumbersome, constantly inflicting pain upon the Dark Lord of the Sith. This pain, however, was not merely a result of neglect or oversight. It was by design. Palpatine intended the suit as both a tool of control and punishment for Vader's failure against Obi-Wan Kenobi. It caused immense physical discomfort, leaving him slow and constantly in agony. Yet this suffering was not entirely a weakness. For Vader, it was a reminder of his fall and the fuel for his dark side power. Each painful breath, each labored movement fed his rage and hate, making him one of the most feared figures in the galaxy. Though various enhancements and upgrades were available, Vader refrained from making major changes, fearing that any attempt to replace or significantly upgrade his armor would likely result in death due to the complex life support systems integrated into his suit. He also didn't want to upgrade his suit because he wanted to be punished, and the pain he was feeling was deserved. He didn't feel this way because he lost to Obi-Wan, but because he lost Padme. But what if he didn't feel that way? What if Darth Vader upgraded his suit? After enduring yet another brutal punishment from his master, Darth Vader found himself floating in the Bacta tank, his charred body submerged in the healing liquid. The stinging memory of Palpatine's Force lightning lingered, coursing through his damaged nerves. The pain, however, was nothing new. It was a constant companion, a relentless reminder of his imprisonment within his armor, a prison of suffering, designed not just to keep him alive, but to keep him weak, always under the Emperor's control. Vader's thoughts drifted as he floated, bubbles rising slowly around his mask. He was tired of the constant pain, the humiliations, and the inescapable reminders of his past. His armor, designed to sustain his broken body, had become a prison. Every step was a struggle, every breath a labored reminder of Mustafar, of his fall, and of the body he once had as Anakin Skywalker. He could not endure this torment any longer. He had to break free, not just from his suit, but from the clutches of the Emperor. His mind raced with possibilities. He had to overthrow Palpatine, but how? The Emperor's lightning always left him helpless, his suit sparking and malfunctioning under the assault. In his current state, Vader could never defeat him, but a realization dawned on him. He did not need to defeat Palpatine in his current state. He needed to become stronger, faster, and more resilient. He needed an upgraded suit that would not be vulnerable to his master's power, a suit that would restore his lost agility and allow him to wield the Force with the finesse and strength he once knew. He envisioned a new armor, sleek, advanced, and impervious to lightning, a suit that would no longer confine him, but instead amplify his power. But obtaining such an upgrade would not be easy. Any attempt to modify his armor under the Emperor's watchful eye would be seen as a direct challenge to his rule, and Palpatine would not hesitate to kill him for it. Palpatine's design had been deliberate, using subpar materials that caused Vader constant pain, enhancing his rage and deepening his connection to the dark side. But now, Vader saw the truth. The Emperor had deliberately kept him weak, fearing that a fully empowered Vader could one day rise against him. The realization fueled Vader's desire for change. He no longer wished to be bound by the Emperor's sadistic control. He wanted to feel powerful again, to move as he once had, and to wield the Force without the physical limitations of his cumbersome suit. Vader considered his options. He thought briefly of the rebellion and his son Luke's previous offer to overthrow the Emperor together. But the thought of joining the rebellion filled him with conflicting emotions: shame, guilt, and anger. The rebellion represented everything he had lost, and the prospect of working with those who fought against him was unbearable. No, Vader decided. He would not rely on others. He would not submit to the aid of those who saw him as a monster. He would do it alone, as he had always done. Determined to upgrade his armor without the knowledge or interference of the Emperor, Vader began his covert mission under the guise of searching for Luke. He traveled to various planets, secretly acquiring advanced technology and parts that would aid in his plan. Using his extensive knowledge of engineering, a skill he had honed since his days as Anakin Skywalker, he carefully selected components that would enhance his mobility, reinforce his defense against lightning, and improve his overall functionality. Vader found an old technician who had gone underground after the rise of the Empire. The technician, wary of Vader's presence but intrigued by the challenge, reluctantly provided him with advanced cybernetic enhancements and rare alloys, designed to withstand extreme energy attacks and to restore his limbs. As the work was completed, and the engineer looked to Vader, The Sith Lord silently ignited his lightsaber, ending the man's life without a word. There would be no witnesses, no loose ends. Vader's secrets were his alone. Next, on the scrap world of Bracca, Vader uncovered a hidden cache of old Separatist droid technology, scavenging resilient servo motors and advanced circuitry that would make his movements more fluid and precise. From the remains of downed ships, he salvaged high-capacity energy cells, perfect for powering his new, fortified life support systems. These were components that would have never been allowed under Imperial oversight. Too advanced, too independent. Finally, on Nar Shaddaa, the smuggler's moon, Vader made his most critical acquisition, a prototype energy barrier generator. This device, designed for use in high-security prisons, could generate a protective shield around his most vulnerable parts, his head and chest, offering an unprecedented defense against Force attacks, including Palpatine's deadly lightning. It was exactly what Vader needed. With all the pieces in hand, Vader returned to his personal fortress on Mustafar, a place of darkness and solitude where he could work undisturbed. There, in the searing heat of the lava fields, he began the painstaking process of reconstructing his armor. Each modification was carefully calculated and meticulously installed. Vader's skills as a builder and a pilot, once used to craft pod racers and repair droids, were now turned inward, focused solely on creating the perfect weapon. Himself. The work was slow and grueling. Every adjustment had to be precise. Every component had to function seamlessly with the existing life support systems. But Vader was patient. He had all the time he needed, and for the first time in a long while, he felt a sense of control over his destiny. He was no longer just a slave to the Emperor's whims. He was rebuilding himself, piece by piece, stronger than ever. After months of careful planning and construction, Vader's new suit was finally complete. It was a masterpiece of engineering, sleek, powerful, and nearly impervious to the weaknesses of his old armor. His new limbs moved with the precision of his former self, and the energy barrier shielded his head, providing a defense against any attack that might target his life support systems. Vader felt reborn, not as the weakened enforcer of the Emperor's will, but as a force to be reckoned with, a true Sith Lord, ready to take his place at the top. But just as he was about to don his new armor, a summons came from Palpatine. The Emperor demanded his presence immediately. Vader knew that somehow, some way, Palpatine had caught wind of his plans, but it didn't matter. He was ready. For the first time, he felt no fear, only the cold, calculated resolve of a warrior who knew he could finally challenge his master. Vader arrived at the Emperor's throne room on Coruscant, his presence ominous and commanding. Palpatine, draped in his dark robes, stared at him with cold yellow eyes. The air crackled with tension as the two Dark Lords faced each other.
"So it is true,"
Palpatine hissed, his voice dripping with disdain.
"You have defied me, improved your armor, and betrayed the trust I placed in you. For this, you will feel the full power of the dark side."
With a wave of his hand, Palpatine unleashed a torrent of force lightning, more intense than ever before. The blue energy crackled through the air, striking Vader's armor with a violent flash. But instead of the usual pain, Vader felt only a slight twinge. His new suit absorbed the lightning effortlessly, dissipating the energy through its reinforced circuits. He stood firm, advancing step by step as the Emperor's attacks grew more frantic. Palpatine's eyes widened in disbelief.
"Impossible."
He spat, pouring every ounce of his hatred into the assault. But it was futile. The new armor was impervious, and Vader, now free from the limitations of his old suit, moved with terrifying speed and precision. With a swift motion, Vader closed the distance, his lightsaber igniting in a brilliant red blaze. He raised the blade high and, in a single decisive strike, brought it down. The Emperor's head fell from his shoulders, and his body crumpled to the ground. Truly alone. The galaxy feared him, the rebellion despised him, and the Empire, now leaderless, was his to command. But with Palpatine gone, the one figure who had defined his existence for so long, Vader felt an emptiness that even his newfound power could not fill. He stared at the lifeless form of the Emperor and thought of Padme, the promises, the lies, and the dreams of power that had led him to this moment. He had believed that through power, he could bring her back, that he could undo his past. But now, standing over the body of the only person who had ever truly understood his darkness, Vader felt no closer to his lost love. He had achieved ultimate power, but it brought no solace, no peace. Without the restrictions of his old armor, Vader's anger intensified. He was unbound, more powerful than ever, and yet more isolated than he had ever been. The galaxy would tremble before him, and without Palpatine's manipulations holding him back, he would become an unstoppable force of darkness. But no amount of power could change the past, and no victory could bring back what he had lost. Vader, now at the pinnacle of his strength, was free. But that freedom came with a bitter price. The dark side had given him everything and taken everything in return. As he looked out into the stars from the Emperor's throne room, he knew one thing for certain. He was the most powerful being in the galaxy, and he was completely and utterly alone. If you enjoyed this What If, make sure to subscribe to my channel and let me know in the comments what you think would have happened. And let me know if I should continue the story. May the Force be with you.